Keep yourself in the loop of everything football. Listen to Alex and Jeremiah on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Hello there, I'm Jeremiah.
I am Alex, always and forever here.
Dedicated to college and NFL football. The latest football news on and off the field. NFL draft trade rumors. We've got you covered from the NFL, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC, and everything else in between. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, where we talk the latest news, rumors, and games of the NFL and college football. From the latest science, this year's breakout stars, and all the news in between. As always, I'm Alex.
And I'm Jeremiah.
How you doing?
Doing good.
Good. I'm doing good, too.
Yeah, I'm a little tired, though.
Yeah, a little tired, but baseball will do that to you.
Yeah.
Jeremiah and I watched a little baseball last night, but we watched football, too, and that being the Monday night game, which we'll talk about here in a minute, between Tampa Bay and the Carolina Panthers. We'll talk the AP Top 25 poll, since it came out right after our show ended yesterday. And we're going to talk a little bit of Tony Romo news, just because we can.
And we will.
And we might.
No. Or we must.
Or we must. But let's start in the NFC South. Monday Night Football, Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the defending NFC champion Carolina Panthers, and they beat them 17-14 in favor of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a wacky game because, of course, Cam Newton did not play in this game. He was held out because of concussion protocols. Derek Anderson started. He was 18 for 28, 278, and 2 interceptions. Not a great day for him. I mean, he put them in position to win. He threw some bonehead interceptions, especially one in the end zone late. In flippity-flop, the Tampa Bay passing game was not bad at all. Jameis Winston, 18 for 30, 219 and 1 touchdown. But the real thing here was their running game. Jacquizz Rodgers, who was with Dirk Cutter in Atlanta, a smaller guy, not really between the tackles guy, more outside the tackles, more, sideline to sideline kind of guy. Between the tackles, mainly, 30 carries, 101 yards for a tiny fella.
Yeah.
101 yards on 30 carries. That's a lot of carries.
That was a lot of carries for him.
Yeah. That's got to be by far a career high in carries in one game. I mean, that's up there with some of the running backs this entire year, I feel like, in career high or game high carries. They had 113 yards rushing. Other than Jacquizz, he didn't have any rushing, 6 yards. Nothing great. Over on the Carolina side, you had Cameron Artis-Payne. Excuse me, Karen mixed his name.
I always like to call him Curtis Artis-Payne. I don't know why.
I got you. Yes, yeah. Cameron Artis-Payne had 18 carries for 85 yards and 2 scores, led the way there. Fozzie Whitaker right behind him with 5 for 45, team total of 136, adding in Anderson's 4 and Tolbert's 2. 2 touchdowns again for Cameron Artis-Payne. He led the way. Greg Olsen led the way on the receiving end, 181 yards on 9 receptions. Kelvin Benjamin right behind him, 5 for 70. After that, nobody logged more than 2 catches for anything more than 13 yards. Over for Tampa Bay, we have Mike Evans leading the way with 6 for 89 on 1 touchdown on what looked like an absolutely easy pitch and catch between him and Jameis Winston on a wide-open touchdown pass late in the game in the third quarter. And then everybody else had 1, 2, 3 receptions other than Jacquizz, who had 5 for 28. Tight end Brate had 1 for 38, Vince Jackson 3 for 36, and everybody else after Jacquizz again 1 for 12, 1 for 11, 1 for 5. So not amazing, but again, what you need. Now, the thing to me is the Carolina Panthers are now 1-4. They're bottom in their division, absolute last. The problem for them has been inconsistency all over, in terms of the offense as well, but the defense. Now we understand, yes, we get it. You think you can have a secondary without Josh Norman, that's fine. Anybody can, it's not one player doesn't win or lose you most games, obviously. He leaves, secondary's a work in progress, we get it. But the secondary is supposed to be good because your front 7 is supposed to be good. You have Coney Ely, you have Coleman, you have Paul Soliai, you have Thomas Davis, you have Luke Kuechly, you have Shaq Thompson, you have K'Wan Short, you have Love, you have Star Latu-Lele, you have Boston, who comes up and plays the front. You have all these guys in your front 7 that are supposed to be good. They're supposed to be the guys you pay. McLean, your first-round pick this year, Davis, tackle. That's where you've been putting your money, your front 7. And they, unlike I've ever really seen them in the last couple of years, got shredded up the middle. where they're supposed to be strongest. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't
get this defense.
I don't get it either. And if you look at their past games this year, Denver, okay, that was a game that they could have won. They probably should have won. And they're honestly a bad San Francisco team away from being 0-5 right now.
Right?
And they were in that game against the 49ers in week 2. That was actually a one-score game at one point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So they're lucky that the Niners were so bad this year that they could have lost that game as well. But yeah, man, I don't know what to say about this Carolina Panthers team. It seems that I think their playoff hopes are probably over by this point.
Yeah, I don't know how many teams have made the playoffs at this record. And I'm sorry, Vernon Butler was their first-round pick. That's who I meant.
They do play the Saints in week 6 of this coming Sunday on the short week, and they have to go to New Orleans. So I do think that could be a winnable game right there.
Yeah, I was saying it's very up and down. The Saints offense at least is producing. And if this offense of the Panthers can't produce, I mean, their defense sure showed that they can't stop up the middle runs. And you got somebody who might be a little better at it than Jacquizz and Ingram. And then you got one of them still elite passers in Drew Brees. They have plenty of receivers that can run past any corners really in the league, let alone, a unit that now kind of officially lacks a number one after releasing Bené Benwickery. So
who do you got?
Yeah, I mean,
who do you got?
I might pick the Saints in this one, honestly.
I know, and
then they face the Cardinals the next week, and they've been just as bad. They
have a bye a week 7.
Sorry, the following game week.
Yeah,
I don't know.
IDK.
And then they play the Rams.
And then Rams are not a pushover. They're not a pushover. No,
they're second in their division.
Exactly, and I'm not sold on the Rams completely, but the Rams are not a team that's to be taken lightly.
What do you think the chances are at the Rams where their defense plays consistently enough and then we get another 2 interception, no touchdown game from Case Keenum and they go, it's time for Goff? And Goff comes in and just opens up this whole new offensive world to the Rams.
Oh, and then it just lights it up?
Yeah.
I think, honestly, at this point...
Probably not.
At this point, I think they're going to keep Goff on the sideline for the year.
You know what they say. Anything is possible, Kevin Garnett.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, yeah, this was pretty bad to watch, honestly. Again, 17-14. The scoring, as it stood, was 3 in the first quarter, 3 in the second quarter. The score at halftime was 6-0. And then Carolina finally came back 14 in the third, followed an 8.
It could have been 9-12-0 if Robert Aguayo didn't miss those 2 field goals.
Yes, Robert Aguayo again. Unfortunately for the young kid, he was 3 for 5, but he made it when it counted. I mean, obviously it all counts, but he made it when it was absolutely needed most, and that was to win the game as time expired. The kid's still struggling. I'll tell you what, the second-round pick out of Florida State, he has not had an easy go of it. He is 4 for 8 on his field goals. I'm sorry, 4 for that's 8 extra points made. Let me look at his stat line. He is currently 4. Oh, no, he's 3 for 5, actually. 4 for 6 total. That's just...
If it wasn't for his draft status, he would have been cut by now.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, he is 4 for 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, any kicker would be... This is kind of this looks almost a little bit like the stat line that the Steelers had last year with their kicker before they released him, Jacoby. Scobie missed... You know how many games that I'm pretty sure the Steelers lost because of Josh Scobie? I think 2 or 3, where he missed 3 kicks in one game. Yeah, again, if he wasn't a second-round draft pick, if he was just some kicker, very easily I could see him on his way out after this one. You know what I mean? Missing 2 kicks. You've missed 4 the entire year. I mean, yes, you were 4 for 8. You missed 2 last night, so you were 2 for... a relative, 4 at that point. Not bad. 4 for 8, though.
That is terrible.
50%, that's not where you want to be. I mean, he's made a long of 43. He is currently 1 of his 3 kicks made from 40 to 49. He's made 3 within 30 to 39. He's attempted none or made none within 19 yards. So, no 50 long. His longest is 43.
And do you think the Bucs actually wasted a pick on this kid?
You know what? I think next year, watch, this guy's going to be one of the best kickers in the league. He's got the skill set.
I
just don't
wouldn't
get it.
be surprised.
Yeah, he's got the skill set. I just don't get it. I don't understand.
I think maybe there's like so much pressure on him to be successful because he was a second-round pick. So maybe that kind of is getting to his head a little bit. But remember, when Aguayo did come to the Bucs earlier this spring, Jameis Winston did say he was a very important player at that Florida State Seminole.
He was great there.
Championship team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the year after Winston left. So he said that, he's a very important player for that team. And, he has the confidence from his teammates. I think towards the end, I think I was kind of rooting for Aguayo in a way because
I want him to make it.
Because if he didn't make it, man, I don't know. I think we would be talking about – we'd be having a different conversation at this point.
Well, I mean, he's very good within 30 to 39. He's 3 for 4. He's 1 for 4. Actually, he's 1 for 5 from 40 to 49. Now, give a kid credit. That's a hard kick no matter who you are in the NFL. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
40 to 49 yards, that's hard. So give him a break. But when you draft somebody in the second round, they're supposed to make those. Let alone, look at Janikowski, first round. That guy still makes those. He's been playing for 200 years, so yeah, I mean,
he's like
I think he'll get it. I think the kid will get it. Personally.
Yeah, he will, and I do have a lot of confidence in him to, be successful.
Yeah, I think he'll be. I think that maybe after his first year, he might. Maybe he'll be moving. I mean, he's clearly got the skill set. He played great in college. His brother's breaking all his records at Florida State. It's funny. I keep hearing his name, just wrecking all his records. But yeah, I think he'll figure it out.
I love it. We're talking about kickers.
Dude, I love talking about kickers on this show.
I love this.
Oh,
yes.
Man. Well, here's the kicker. Let's take our first break. We'll come back. We will talk AP Top 25, something we didn't get to talk about yesterday, but we always love to talk about. And then we'll take a last break and talk a little Tony Romo action because we want to, we got to, we need to, maybe. We'll do that real quick here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, and we will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. And now we're going to move into some college football. We got to talk about the AP Top 25 because we got some new teams on this poll that are new.
I guess
that
sentence would deem that true.
Because there's a couple of teams on here that was like, what? And there's a couple of teams on here that moved down.
They were like, what?
And what? And then we got a couple of teams that move up. And then we're like, what? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, my God.
I got to stop doing that. But I think the biggest change in this poll is in the top 15. But before I get to that, I'm going to talk about the top 10 first. So, same as last week, the 5 teams are the same. So, Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, Michigan, Washington, the same.
Yes, sir.
Then it changes at 6. We got Texas A&M coming off their overtime win versus Tennessee on Saturday. Then we got Louisville, who had a bye week. They stay at 7. And then we got Wisconsin moving up 3 spots. They go to 8. And then Tennessee stays at number 9, which I'm actually kind of surprised by. I thought they would have dropped down a little bit.
Yeah,
after that loss. So I was like, maybe it's because of the SEC. Maybe that's the reason why they're still in there. And maybe they played Texas A&M really tough in that game. So that I think that's a little bit questionable there. But Tennessee is one of those teams that they're always in it no matter what the score is. So maybe that plays a part in it. And Nebraska moves to 2 spots. They move from 12 to 10. That rounds out the top 10 in this poll right here. Then we go on to 11. That's Baylor. They move up 2 spots from 13 last week. Ole Miss moves up from 14 to 12. And the biggest change of all is Houston dropping from 6 to 13 after their loss to Navy. Yes. And we kind of saw this coming, you know.
Yeah, I thought they would drop a little farther than that.
Me too. So, do you think they still have a chance to the playoffs? No? Okay.
No, I don't, my friend, and I'm sorry to tell that to you. But
man, I was so high on this team too.
I know you were, and unfortunately, they lost to Navy, man. Which we'll get. Who's ranked now? Which we'll get into.
Yeah, we'll get into it later.
We'll finish the rest of the countdown.
And then Florida State moves up from 23 to 14 after their huge win against the U. That is Miami on Saturday. And then we got Boise State moving up from 19 to 15. And then we got Miami moving down from 10 to 16. Virginia Tech is now 17, moving up from the 25th spot. Then we got Florida, who stayed at 18 after their game against LSU got postponed. I don't think there's been a makeup date announced yet.
Not yet, no.
Then we got Oklahoma moving up from 19 to 20.
Other way around.
Oh, moving up from 20 to 19. My bad.
It's all right.
And then we got West Virginia moving up 2 spots from 22 to 20. Then we got Utah, 24 to 21. Arkansas moving down from 16 to 22. And now for the last 3 spots, we have new teams. Auburn, 23. Western Michigan, 24.
Mid-American.
And Navy goes 25th.
Yeah, Navy coming in top 25.
Okay, I can see an argument for Auburn because they're in the SEC. But Western Michigan, who have they beat?
Yeah, no, not really many people, to be fair.
They are 6-0, so I'll give them that.
When was the last time a Mid-American team was right up there in the top 25 this early?
Northern Illinois.
This early, though?
Yeah, I think they were a little bit. Yeah, because remember they did make that. Remember that one year when they make
everybody.
I remember that one year in Northern Illinois when they had Jordan Lynch as their quarterback.
Oh yeah.
And then they made it to the Orange Bowl against Florida State, and they just got absolutely dismantled.
They got hammered.
Oh, they sure did. They got
hammered.
They got hammered on New Year's Day. They got hammered on New Year's Day.
What were you going to say, my friend, about
I'm just saying,
Western Michigan?
Okay, so they are 6-0, so I give them credit for that. But look at this. Look at the teams that they played. Northwestern, 22-21. Northwestern hasn't been good in a while.
True.
NC Central, the powerhouse, 17-21. Illinois, 34-10. Then they beat Georgia Southern, 49-31. Central Michigan, who beat Oklahoma State earlier in the year, 49-10. Then Northern Illinois, 45-30. So they do have a lot of convincing wins.
Yeah.
But they haven't really beat anybody yet. And I'm looking at the schedule now, and they really don't have anyone coming up. They have Akron. They got Eastern Michigan, Ball State, Kent State, Buffalo, and Toledo. So they have no one really on the schedule that can really move them up.
They might be one of those teams that falls out of there just because they don't have any good opponents.
Maybe.
Like they could literally go undefeated again and maybe fall out still.
Exactly, because they have no one on the schedule that they can honestly play.
You know what's really interesting? This as of right now, this top 25, the Big Ten has 4 in the top 10 for the first time since 1960. Obviously with Ohio State, with Michigan, with Wisconsin, and with Nebraska. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's been a big year for the Big Ten.
Yeah, big for Big Ten. Right there. Look what you did. This is an interesting week for this countdown, I feel like. You have a lot of teams that were in it for a long time that just bounced out. You know, Stanford's no longer around. They're gone.
Yeah, Colorado, they were there for 1 week. They're gone for 1 week.
San Diego State fully dropped out the week prior. Boise State moved up, which is nice for them. Oregon's probably nowhere near this countdown anymore.
Not anywhere close.
It's too bad for them.
Man, you gotta feel bad for Houston a little bit though. They had everything going for them. All they had to do was win every game up to that Louisville game.
All they had to do was just go undefeated.
Into that Louisville game, and then possibly be competitive in that game to have a chance. But nope. I think they can end the year as a top 10 team, so I think they still have that because they do have Louisville coming up. But as far as being the top 4 teams, yeah, I think that's kind of a long shot right now because if we see the way that Washington has played, and the fact that Michigan and Ohio State have to play later, I think Washington is one of those teams that you don't want to see in the playoffs.
No, their offense is very potent. I mean, they scored 70-plus points also, just like Michigan this year, so pretty good.
Yeah, but so before we end this segment here, let's talk about Navy here. Okay. That win against Houston basically got them ranked in this poll because
pretty much
because I looked at because they're 4-1, and I'm looking at their schedule right now. So they beat Fordham, FCS opponent. They dismantled them 52-16. Then they barely beat UConn 28-24. Then they Tulane 21-14. Then they lost to the Air Force 28-14. And then the biggest win of Navy's season was last Saturday against Houston 46-40. And Navy was kind of in the lead for the majority of this game. So going forward for Navy, they do have Notre Dame coming up in November 5th. They do have and then they have the Army in December 10th. So that's the Army and Navy games always competitive. It's always a big rivalry. So that is a tough opponent as well. So basically, I only see really 2 tough opponents on Navy's schedules, but I don't know if they're going to be ranked for the rest of the year because I don't know how many. I just don't see this team winning as many games as they did last year. They were good last year with Keenan Reynolds. Remember that?
They were very good.
They're very good.
One thing I want to mention, too, about this, because I mentioned Oregon. Oregon has only a 19% chance of making a bowl game now, which is the lowest among any team that was ranked within the preseason top 25. And finally, LSU and Florida will not play their game.
They would not play after all?
They shared the coveted 5th spot in this week's bottom 10 after the SEC foes failed to reschedule their game postponed by Hurricane Matthew. Says right now, I do not know when or if there will be a makeup date. There you go.
All right.
Boom, there goes a dynamite.
Whoop, there it is.
Okay, that was a weird way. That was the weirdest way I've ever heard that song sung.
Whoop, there it is.
All right, a little louder now. We're going to take our last break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk a little Jerry Jones, a little Tony Romo action, huh?
All right, a little Dallas Cowboys talk. All right, I like it.
Sound fun to you?
Of course it does. Right. Everything sounds fun. Everything is awesome.
Lego movie.
Yeah.
I like it.
Everything is better when we work as a team. Everything's awesome.
Cool when you're part of a team.
Oh, is that how it goes?
Yeah.
God dang it.
Everything's awesome when you live and
I totally just botched that. Wow.
It's okay. I got your back.
Okay.
Believe me, I've watched the movie enough to help you out.
You know my favorite part about that part is when he's when Chris Pratt's character is buying coffee. He's and buy overpriced coffee, and then
that'll be $12.
No, that would be like $30. I got a kick of that so hard because
how he goes, okay, cool. He gives him his money.
Awesome.
My favorite thing is when he's when he says, "Do your morning workout," and he's doing like jumping jacks. He goes 1, 2, 3, and he stops. He goes, "I'm so pumped up!" and just like yells. I love it.
Oh man.
I might watch that later. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna take our last break. We'll come back and we'll talk some Tony Romo action here in just a minute at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
And we're back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, and we're just going to talk a little bit about some Tony Romo news real quick before we get going for the day. Jerry Jones has said that Tony Romo's back is healed, and the next move for him is conditioning. They said that the MRI on Tony Romo's back showed his compression fracture has healed to the point where the quarterback quote, has no more concern about this injury that has sidelined him this year. Jerry Jones has I think it's weekly, not every day, media requirement, or not requirement, but at least he goes on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas. But he wouldn't say that Romo would be able to return and when he'd be able to return. The targeted date, of course, is October 30th against the Philadelphia Eagles and November 6th the following week against the Cleveland Browns, because those are the first eligible weeks in which he can do so. But there's apparently not going to take any chances there. So it's going to be interesting. Now, he has said that when he's healthy, he will be the starter. What do you think about that?
I think they shouldn't rush Tony Romo like that. And plus, I do think they have a good thing going on with Dak Prescott, the quarterback position. Mm-hmm. You saw how Dak Prescott has played. He doesn't look like a rookie.
No, not really.
He hasn't made many rookie mistakes. He did throw his first. Not yet. No, he hasn't thrown an interception yet. My bad. I'm thinking about Carson Wentz. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I was just wondering what it would do with the team chemistry with Tony Romo comes back. And I know this has been Tony Romo's team for the past decade or so. Mm-hmm. I do think Dak Prescott has showed enough that he should be the starter on this team. And if Tony Romo does come back, I think they should wait till November 6th. So that way we can get a Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott matchup on October 30th.
That's how long? Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying November 30th. I was like, that's a long time from now, man. Yeah, I agree with you. I think Dak adds a different kind of wrinkle to this offense than Tony does.
He does, because Dak adds the read option to this offense, and with Dak running the read option, and that's dangerous with Ezekiel Elliott as well, who has had 3 straight 100-yard rushing games, and we finally seen his full potential finally on Sunday against the Bengals when he broke long runs, especially that 60-yard touchdown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think he definitely what he does. I think for the offense is they know he can throw it and they know he can run it. So it definitely hinders people from going and just attacking the run because he has the ability to pop it over them for play action. You know, I think the ability that he has to run the ball also you have to kind of keep somebody aware of that. You know, with Romo, yes, he does a great job. Obviously, he's probably a better pure thrower. He's probably more accurate than Dak is. He's got more of a handle on the offense, obviously. So you have that aspect. You know, Romo is probably the best quarterback on the team, obviously, and probably the best man for the job in the sense of skill. But he's going to go out there and he's going to be a pocket passer, which is fine. That's not a knock on Romo. You know, they're still the best offensive line in the league. They're probably going to run the ball just as well. But I think Dak really gives them this wrinkle to the offense in which they can do a lot more. You know, I mean, he's thrown for 1,239 in yards, 1,239, 4 touchdowns. He has no interceptions yet. He has 3 touchdowns on the ground. He's playing well. He's winning them games, and he's not making mistakes. He's only fumbled the ball once. He's got a current...
That's his first turnover.
Yeah, and he's got a current... It's only turnover. He's got a current quarterback ratio of 101.5, which I'm sure if I was to look into a lot of different starters, he'd be higher than a lot of them. To name a few, probably Gabbert, probably Keenum, probably Cutler when Cutler was playing earlier in the year. You know, he's consistent and he plays well, and I think that's what you need most, especially with a team that doesn't have a great defense, because the Cowboys don't have a great defense. So I don't know what I would do.
And they're in first place in the NFC East right now.
They sure are. So I'd be tricky. I mean, it's kind of like what if it's not broke, don't fix it. I guess in a way. But it's so hard to keep somebody like Romo off the field when he's healthy to play.
It is hard to keep healthy Tony Romo on the sideline because remember this was your quarterback for the past 10 years. Remember that. But Dak Prescott adds this whole new element that this Cowboys offense haven't had. I don't think ever, honestly.
Not since like Roger Staubach.
Exactly. That was
in terms of a quarterback that can
that
move.
was like a long time ago.
70s.
We weren't even thought of.
Nope. And
I don't even think my parents were either. I'm kidding.
Wow, your parents young then.
Yeah, they were. I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I said this a couple weeks ago. Like, it's hard for me to see Tony Romo back as a starter because of the way Dak Prescott has played. Maybe like weeks 1, 2, and 3, maybe you can see Tony Romo.
But isn't it hard also to see him not on the field when healthy?
That's what I said. It's hard to not start Romo. So I can see the whole dilemma here. But I wouldn't be surprised if Tony Romo is a starter because he is Jerry Jones's guy. You know how Jerry Jones is with his football team.
And you know how he apparently is the one that runs everything.
Yeah, because if he had a choice, he would love to be the coach too, but he can't.
Nope.
No.
No, sir. That's only happened once. Anyways, this Cowboy team is really one mental error on not getting out of bounds away from possibly being undefeated.
Yeah, they're one bonehead. Tramon Williams?
Terrence Williams.
I don't know why I said Tramon.
He's the.
Formerly
was on the Packers.
Why do I get him confused? Oh, Terrence Williams. Mm-hmm. One bonehead play away from him from being 5-0.
Yeah, I say Terrence Williams on the. He's on the Browns, and they're definitely not one bonehead move away from being 5-0. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were right there. Obviously, in most people's eyes, they should have won that week 1 game. And then, they beat the Redskins 27-23. They handled the Bears 31-17. They beat the Niners 24-17. And they kind of handled the Bengals this week.
They did.
28-14. And that was 14 points. Didn't really get scored until late after halftime. So this team, maybe it's time to start talking to them and being for real. We'll have to talk about them this week maybe.
Maybe
we will. Maybe we won't. Maybe you have to wait and find out.
I already got my for real.
I know you do. I know you can't wait. But the rest of this conversation can wait till another day because this episode's over.
Yes, it is. We got to get out of here.
Yeah, tomorrow we have Wide Left Wednesday. We have...
For real?
And, of course, we have any news that missed during the week. I know there's some injuries and such to talk about. So we'll do that. But until then, Jeremiah and I would like to thank you for listening. Andrew will be with us tomorrow, right?
No, Anthony.
I'm sorry, why did I say Andrew?
I was like,
our boss. Anthony will be with us tomorrow. Sorry. So Anthony will be with us tomorrow. Of course, I'll be back. And Jeremiah will be back. Yes, he'll be here?
That's what it says on the schedule.
Yes, that is what it says on the schedule. I'm looking at it currently.
All right.
I can't wait, man. Jeremiah will be doing his fantasy football show after this, which was what that commercial was for a little while ago. So make sure you listen to that.
Oh, thanks for hyping me up.
Yes. Fantasy football is Jeremiah on Tuesdays and Jeremiah and Anthony on Fridays. Yes? Do you do on Fridays also?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So tune in tomorrow. We'll have a jam-packed show for you then. Until then, I'd like to thank you for listening. I'm Alex.
I'm Jeremiah.
We'll see you tomorrow.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.